Now, just a little warning before we begin. There will be major spoilers for the 5th episode of Moon Knight called Asylum in this video. So, if you haven't seen it yet, you don't want anything from the episode ruined, you know what to do. Click away and come back after you have seen it. Alright, so what did you think of the latest episode of Moon Knight?
I thought it was clever. I thought it was a new way to tell a backstory that was interesting. I thought it was really cool seeing Mark specifically guiding Steven, our everyday Steven, which we talked about in the first episode, that he's our everyman. He's the guider through the story, and that's exactly what we're seeing. Steven's reaction to Mark's past is our reaction to the past.
Fair enough, yeah. Pretty clever in that respect, and we learned that Steven is, as predicted, not the real guy. Kind of comes about as a result of an abusive mother.
An abusive mother who's grieving her favorite son, I guess.
Clearly the favorite son, yeah.
Though, who can say favorite?
Well, yeah, if you lose any child.
I mean, if she would have lost him instead, and would it have been the same?
I think you put the onus on the big brother. So, I mean, he's supposed to be looking out for the little brother, and that's, I think the anger comes from that. She feels that the bigger brother should have known better.
Right. I mean, I really enjoyed the fact that they were on a boat on the Juwat River, heading, the river was actually like the sand, and heading to see where their scales balance. I kept expecting the whole time that their scales weren't balancing because Jake was still locked in a sarcophagus.
I was wondering about that. I wondered if he was going to play a part, but I kind of figured, especially when it got to the end and they weren't quite balancing, I'm like, oh, he has to let go of Steven, basically.
It wasn't that he had to let go of Steven, it's more or less that he had to accept Steven. 100% completely to the fact that he loved Steven.
I guess you could say that. I'm thinking more along the lines he had to acknowledge what Steven was, that he was an escape route, if you will.
Well, Steven had to understand what he was.
Well, yeah, but Steven's not real, in a way.
But he is. He is still a person in that mind.
He's a personality, he's not a person.
But he still exists. And he's something that Mark had to come to terms with, Steven had to come to terms with, and they kind of formed a real bond. I mean, when Steven saw himself finally having the strength going, you know what, if he can do it, I can do this too. I'm a part of this. This is still me. He understood that, and he, ended up saving Mark and then sacrificing himself, saving him.
But there could be only one, is kind of the...
It was like, that was Steven's moment to really accept Mark and accept himself as a part of Mark. And then when Mark called out to him overboard, come on, run, he's begging, you're not going to be okay, he's screaming for him. It was him finding now acceptance with Steven as well. I think it was both of them balancing with each other.
I think I'm going to kind of disagree. I think it's more along the lines of Mark had to realize that, he is Steven, and Steven doesn't exist without him. And so, I don't know, I don't see this as I guess we're seeing this in two kind of different ways, which... I don't know, maybe you're right, maybe I'm wrong, or maybe neither one of us are right.
Well, yeah, and we ended with, Mark alone in the fields, when we know they're trying to get to the gates of Osiris.
I mean, I guess the problem is there can only, like I said, there can only be one. You can't, I guess they could share the body, theoretically. So
is Steven dead. I mean, he did fall overboard into death.
But he's still just I don't think so, because I think it's more of a... he's just a personality. It depends on how deep or how you want to look at it.
The fact that they had separate bodies means they were acknowledging that these separate personalities, separate entities, separate minds, in a way. But when one of them died, does that mean that it died within Mark, within the main host, we'll call it?
We'll see. The fact that that's when the scales balanced, to me, says that Mark needed to accept what his tragedy in his past, and that was his escape route. Now that escape route is gone, so he's kind of dealt with that. I don't know. I guess maybe
It's one of those episodes that just you can sit there and examine and take apart and re-examine over and over again because it was all in the mind.
It was all in kind of the mind and the afterlife, and it depends on how you... It's a very complicated kind of idea here. Not complicated, but kind of very abstract idea here.
The thing is that she wasn't balancing the mind. She was balancing the heart.
Well, yeah, but the heart is where what the Egyptians believed was where your kind of soul was. Mm-hmm. So, to me, that was saying that there can't be two, it's not balancing because you have an extra person here that doesn't really belong, that was created by the other to escape a traumatic past. And once Mark had kind of accepted that traumatic past, he no longer needs Steven to escape from it. That's kind of how I read it.
Could be. Or it could just be them coming to terms with each other.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think there's that too. I think it's a little bit about, because obviously we've come to care about Steven. That's supposed to be a traumatic moment when we see Steven die. Now, to your question, does that mean Steven is dead? I don't think so, because Steven exists in the brain of Mark, right? In the living brain of Mark. This was kind of again, some kind of abstract experience. Is this the afterlife? Is it the afterlife? Is it, just in their head? That, again, I'm not sure if it's both or one or the other. And so when Mark comes back to life, which he obviously will, is Steven still in his brain? In the real scientific, physical world? Does he still exist there?
Well, that's where they left us. We don't know.
Yeah.
What I find interesting with all of this, Mark created Steven to run from his pain of his mother not loving him anymore and the abuse. But Steven didn't remember the abuse either. Which
was strange, because he was...
He was the one present for that.
That I didn't understand, because they even show that one scene where her mom is pounding on the door, and I don't know if that's the first time he transforms into Steven or just one of many. And, Steven is literally hearing his mom, screaming bloody murder, and he doesn't seem to remember that.
No, it doesn't seem to be in his mind.
Yeah, so that was... I'm not sure.
So is that possibly showing that the third personality also came to be at that time, that even Steven ran from what was going to happen?
Could be.
That could be why Jake is so violent in the first place, is because he experienced the violence.
Maybe that could be, because the other two ran. Well, Mark is kind of violent too, but
not in the way that Jake is.
Yeah, so the other two, Steven, it's like Inception here, a dream within a dream. It's like a personality within a personality.
It could very well be that Steven ran from it as well.
Yes, and that's where we get the other one from.
Of course, they didn't touch on that, but Steven should have known the abuse, and he didn't. I mean, even after Mother died, he didn't even realize she was gone. So it's very interesting.
It is. Like I said, I'm surprised we didn't get the third personality delved in. That we only saw him locked in the sarcophagus in the previous episode.
Yes, I do really like Tahawet. I thought she was really cool looking. I liked the friendly voice she had, and that she was really genuinely trying to help. And that she really wanted to help, especially when she saw what was happening, that all of these unbalanced were showing up. She only shows up for the unbalanced. I'm sure people who die and are already balanced immediately go to the correct place. She's helping the unbalanced, and all these people have unbalanced scales because they're being taken before their time. Even before, they're being judged and killed before they've even done anything that merited it. So of course they're confused and unbalanced souls.
Yeah. No, I thought she looked cool. I thought it was, kind of interesting that she had the really kind of cutesy voice, I guess is the way really to put it. Yeah. Kind of a little odd that she didn't seem, she's using these cards and doesn't, was this like her first time doing this, or, it's kind of strange that way, but I get it's meant to be played as some humor, some levity in a very kind of dark episode.
It makes you wonder what's going on Earth right now.
Yeah.
Something terrible has happened and we don't even get to see it.
No, well, we get to see it next week for the finale, I'm sure.
Yeah, we have to. I also really enjoyed this method of storytelling, that they did give you the origins, but they gave it to you in a very different way, a very unique way. And they didn't just tell it out in order, and everything was jarring it out of place, which makes sense for what scene they're setting here.
No, I mean, it took you, again, into the mind of Mark, or the afterlife, or both, It's a very, very unique way to do it. Certainly, instead of just explaining, oh, he had an abusive mom, and that's why I created Steven. No, we get to figure that out for ourselves, rather than just having it told to us, or whatever else it might be.
We saw his first meeting with Kanchu.
Yeah, which was interesting.
Yeah, because Steven immediately saw it as he's taking advantage of you, but Mark didn't see it that way. Mark said, well, he saved my life. But he has killed for Kanchu. I know it sounds weird, but Kanchu didn't seem to mislead him.
I don't think so. I don't think it was misleading.
He said straight up, we are going to protect the travelers in the night and punish those who harm them.
Can you do that? Yeah.
That's exactly what happened.
And that's what he essentially does.
I loved that he called him my Moon Knight.
Well, you knew that was coming. Come on now.
It needed to happen.
I think we need more Moon Knight in the series, though. We haven't really... I'm sure we're going to get
thing you said. I wrote it down. Thor says not a lot of Moon Knight.
Not a lot of Moon Knight in the series. I mean, once Kanchu went, what was that, episode 3 that he went down for the count? Mm-hmm. Or got stoned, if you will.
It was the end of 3.
And even before that, not a lot of Moon Knight.
I think that the series benefits from not a lot of Moon Knight. We don't need to see just another series of somebody in their costume running around parading.
No, I certainly agree. I'm always about, substance over spectacle necessarily. But even still, not a lot of Moon Knight.
No, but Marvel likes to vary up their storytelling, so I'm not terribly surprised.
Okay. Curious how others will feel if you like that it's kind of light on the night, or if you want more. I'm sorry, I didn't really even intend that one going in, but or if you'd prefer more heavy on the night.
And it was interesting that Kanchu saw that his mind was broken and found him worthy.
True.
Like, in the original comics and stuff, they say Kanchu almost has a thing himself where he represents the 4 phases of the moon, and his personality can vary thusly. So by seeing that in Mark, he may have seen a kindred spirit.
Could be.
Yeah. I really liked that Mark and his brother were playing the movie. When they ran off to go to the cave explorers, like, oh, okay, I'll be like Rupert, and it was like, then I'm Dr. Stephen Grant. He drew the little fish with 1 fin, too. Which is strange, because eventually he did adopt a fish with 1 fin.
Well, maybe that's just...
Coincidence?
Coincidence, yeah.
There are no such things as coincidence.
Maybe in this case there is, or... I don't know that we're supposed to try to read into that, but...
Yeah. I still enjoy all the promotional material that Marvel has put up on its Twitter and stuff for this. I know I show them every week that it does the 2 teasy images. They do one on Thursday and then one on the day before the episode comes. So I know I may have already shown them, but there were 2 additional ones for this week. Hooray! One was Ahmet's statue, I believe. And the other one was the scales. And then every week there's been another little addition to a poster that represents last week's episode, and they're all kind of joined together, and I really like that too. I think it's really clever. Thor doesn't always see what the images I put for the video are, but I think they're really cool. I'll probably show them after.
You usually show me.
Sometimes.
Oh,
sometimes I don't.
Sometimes you hold back. I see. So yeah, overall I think this was an interesting episode. I mean, I think the finale will obviously be a lot more action-packed. I think we're going to rescue Kanchu and see some Moon Knight finally.
Some who?
Exactly.
Yeah, we probably will.
I mean, we certainly will, right?
Well, we have to. We have to rescue Kanchu. Though he's probably thinking, if I could do it without Kanchu, Layla will never be at risk. Aha!
Probably going through his mind, yeah.
Probably. Unless he's died twice now.
Yeah, death doesn't mean much anymore in the MCU, does it? But anyway, yeah, I mean, a solid episode, a unique, different episode, certainly. Maybe a bit slower for some people. I don't know. What did you final thoughts on this?
Well, I've enjoyed the whole series. Marvel, I love how they vary up their storytelling, and I usually think it keeps me pretty engaged.
No, I've said before, that's probably why the MCU has been successful, though very similar formulas in almost every show and film. Different genres, different ways of telling the stories has been the key to the success, I believe.
Well, and next week we'll be seeing a Multiverse of Madness.
Oh, that's right.
We've got that to look forward to. We're seeing it, I believe, on Friday morning in 3D. Morning.
3D, they still do 3D.
Yeah, we're going to see it in the 3D.
It's coming back because Avatar 2 is coming.
Jeez.
After all these years.
We've seen it 10 a.m. showing, so it should be nice and quiet.
That's the hope.
Of your breakfast popcorn.
All right, well, on that note, I think that's all we've got for you this time. So take to the comments below. Tell us what you thought about this episode of Moon Knight. Tell us what you think about the series overall so far. And so let's talk some Marvel. And until next time, thanks for watching.